Hi, we're making Ratatouille. You may have saw it in Helping Horizons, so we printed it out, and this is what I'm making today. My scribbly notes. The ingredients: 8 ounces of tomato sauce, a half cup of diced tomatoes, a tablespoon of olive oil, 2 cloves of garlic, a third cup of onion, diced, a half teaspoon of fennel, a tablespoon of herbes de Provence, 1.5 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, a half teaspoon of honey, a half tablespoon of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, a half teaspoon of salt, water, 3 Roma tomatoes, half a zucchini, 1 Italian eggplant, 1/2 of a yellow squash, a half cup of Parmesan. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to saute your onions and your garlic with a tablespoon of olive oil. So you want to saute your garlic and onions until your onions become a little bit translucent, because that's when the flavor of the onion starts to really come out. And no, that's just what I learned in school. I just follow the rules. At this point, you can add your salt and pepper if you want to. In my recipe, I recommended a half teaspoon of black pepper and a half teaspoon of salt. Of course, that's only a recommendation. You can add as much salt and black pepper as you want to, but I don't recommend too much salt. Okay, for the next ingredient, I'm going to add the herbes de Provence and fennel seed. Your next step is to add your tomatoes and some tomato sauce. And then you're gonna add your mix of apple cider vinegar and honey. So this is a replacement if you don't have something like balsamic vinegar in your house, or you don't really care for the taste of balsamic vinegar itself. The next thing that we're gonna add is a little bit of sugar, because of course this cuts the bitterness of the tomatoes, the acidity. People will argue all day long about sugar going in spaghetti and sugar going in tomato sauce. Sugar does go in tomato sauce. You will need to add a little bit extra water to this because you're going to be letting it simmer for about an hour. So I recommend adding roughly a cup of water to your sauce, because we're not dirtying another dish. Your next step is to prepare the actual ratatouille itself. You're going to start by adding sauce to the bottom of the pan. You've used most of your sauce, but you still have some left over. And now you get to start layering your vegetables in the pan and making it look really pretty. So start off with whatever you want. I'm going to start with a tomato, and then you just keep going in that order over and over again. This is the part where, like, if I was funny, I would have something funny to say, but I'm not. Okay, so I add a little bit of water that's to the extra sauce that I had in the pan, because you're gonna have a little sauce. You don't want to use everything all in one go, because you want to fill in all of these little cracks that you have here. You want to make sure all of your vegetables kind of get saturated with the extra tomato, because you're not going to get enough from the bottom. You want all of the tomato flavor to be just saturating all of your vegetables. Vegetables by themselves are okay, but with a good sauce, all vegetables are good vegetables. You want to cover this in aluminum foil before you put it in the oven at 375 and bake it for 50 minutes. We'll see it when it's done. It's 50 minutes later, and it is time to take the ratatouille out of the oven and add the cheese. I don't remember how much cheese specifically. We can look at the cheat sheet. How much cheese did I say? A half cup of Parmesan. It's optional. You don't have to. You could stop here if you wanted to. But cheese is really how much your heart desires. So we're just going to sprinkle some on and throw it back in the oven for another 10 minutes, because you want the top to kind of like broil and get kind of crispy and delicious. This goes back in the oven for 10 more minutes. And it's finally ready to come out of the oven. It's delicious. If you liked this recipe, then you can find it in Helping Horizons. Helping Horizons was a charity cookbook that raised over $1,000 for COVID and BLM related causes. If you're interested in learning more about food or joining any of our conversations about food, then feel free to join our Discord for Legends Cookbook and get in on the fun. We have a lot of cool new projects coming up, including new cookbooks, so stay tuned.
Check them out. You gotta have a catchphrase. You're like, keep on cooking.